Hello and welcome to Sestra-Tainment. I'm Lenora.
And I'm Dee.
And we're coming to you today in regards to
Everything
Entertainment.
Alright, hold it. Keep going. You got it. And cut. No? Yeah. Great. Fantastic.
Whew. I don't think I can breathe now to talk. Okay, so hello everyone. We are going to get started today with me.
Yeah.
And so based on that, I am going to talk about Twister, Caught in the Storm.
I started watching and didn't finish it.
Oh, yeah. So it is about the story of Joplin, Missouri. Mm-hmm. It was basically May 21st, 2011. People had this thing that it was supposed to be the end of the world. So there was, I don't know what it was about that. I can't remember. I think the Mayan calendar was ending or something, or it was something weird.
What year was it?
2011.
2011. I think it was that Y2K?
No, because Y2K was 2000, right?
That's right. So I can't remember what it was. I think it might have been the Mayan calendar.
I think it might have been something like that. But anyway, they were saying that the world was supposed to end. I probably should have Googled that. But what ended up happening was they had, it starts off with people talking about that night, everybody just wanted to party and have a good time and just say, hey, we're not going to be here tomorrow. So we might as well go ahead and just, get wasted and have a great time and go out with a bang. Right. Yeah. And that, facetiously, not real. Yeah. But, they were like, in case it all ends, at least we had a good time. We partied. We had fun. So then it goes to the next day, the birds are chirping, it's a beautiful day, everything's fine. And so everybody's like, oh, great, this is amazing. Yeah. We're still here and everything's wonderful in the world. So, but they started recognizing that there's a storm that's coming, right? And there's a tornado that is on the way. And because it's Missouri and, you have the Missouri and the Oklahomas and the Nebraska, all the plains because it's too flat. And they said that what happens is the cool air and the hot air kind of hit in a certain way. And that's how you get to have so many twisters. Because I'm like, why do people choose to live in Tornado Valley when you just know that your home could be demolished any given moment?
Think about people who live in California where your house can catch on fire any given moment.
Yeah, or you get an earthquake.
In Buffalo, New York, where your house can get snowed in at any moment.
Yeah, 6 feet
of
snow. So
it's just,
it's just your life. It's your life. It's what you're a product of your environment, facts. And so based on that, what ends up happening is they see that the storm is coming and you have different people that they're talking about, right? So you have Mac. He's somebody who was like, hey, I was kind of an amateur storm chaser. So I would just go out and try to find different storms and just take my recorder or the phone or whatever and try to chase them, right? You have Cecil. Cecil was 17 in high school and was like, hey, I worked at a ice cream parlor when, the storm was about to approach and, you're looking and everything seems to be fine. Okay. And everything's hunky dory. And then the next thing you know, there's a storm, right? So you have Cecil's story. Then you have the story of Chad. Chad is a young guy who is a meteorologist. He was like a 13.
He was like 6 years old when they showed him when he did his first one. We was talking about snowing and whatever.
Right. And he has such a high voice. He was like, nobody's going to listen to this teenager with a high voice trying to tell people about the weather, kind of thing. And so, but when you talk about meteorologists, I wish they had said what he's doing now because he definitely.
But they showed him going to different news places, but
but I don't know if he was working, or if it was just like
he might not want to put it out there.
He might not. That's true. And so anyway, they also, and I forgot to get the name of these guys, but there were some guys riding in a car, and it was these friends, and it was talking about what happened with their experience with this storm, right? And so you go to the fact that one of the guys, he actually was graduating from high school that day. So he and his father was like, basically like the ambulance driving EMT kind of head guy, chief of something with that, right? Or maybe even with the fire department. But he ended up saying that, hey, we graduated. And after we graduated, as we were graduating, we found out that a whole lot of things were going on out side we didn't know about, you know? So they go out and all they can hear are those horns, the sirens going. And he was like, oh my gosh, like this is bad. So he was planning to go hang out with his friends and go party. And one of his friends was somebody who, I think his name was Connor. He was somebody who was really known on like YouTube. He was growing out his YouTube accounts and stuff like that. So he was like, all right, Connor, well, I'm going to go ahead and head home. And I don't know where Connor was going, but
so I didn't even get this far. I really started it and it was like, I'm not fully invested. But I mean, I'm going to go back and watch it.
Yeah. So what ended up happening is that his father texted him and said, look, you come home. Don't hang out with your friends. Come home. So he was like, all right, I'm going to go home with dad. So by the time he got home, the storm was really starting to look like it was going to hit. Well, actually, it hit as he was trying to drive home. He said he was kind of going home and he was like going towards what was all happening and what was going on. So by the time he and his dad got home, it was pretty much that they had to like turn around and go back out to try to see who they could help or whatever because the storm came through so fast. The other story is of Mac. Like I said, so Mac's the amateur storm chaser. He ends up hanging out with his girlfriend at the time and her brother. So all of them are hanging out and they're like, hey, you want to go chase this storm? Sure, because they've done it before all together. So they're hanging out at this like gas station and they see the storm from a really far distance away. And they're like, wow, that thing is massive. Like it's huge. And so they're like, what are we going to do? And they said, well, they're listening and the broadcasts are starting to come through. Like there's something heading to Joplin. It's going this and northeast and blah, 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 and all those things. And so the female, she's like, y'all, we got to go.
Yeah, exactly.
We got to go.
But the boy driving the truck was like, let's go,
she
boy.
was driving.
Oh, she was driving? Okay.
Yeah, so, but he was just like, well, you know, hold on a second, whatever. They took a little bit longer than she would have liked. So anyway, they start going. As they start driving, all of a sudden, they're trying to get around the storm so that way, by the time that the storm comes towards where they were thinking it was going to go, they were going to be able to get good video of it, like from a different perspective. Kind of like, let's beat the storm kind of thing. Yeah. Well, they're in the car and she's like, look, I'm looking in my rearview mirror and the storm is now chasing us. Like we aren't around.
There's no way that you can tell which way the storm goes.
Right. That's the thing from the Twister movie too, right? You just think it's going this way and you put your little things that are going to go up into the sky in a certain place and then lo and behold.
But it's wind. How many times are you standing outside, standing still and the wind blows you one way and then blows back the other way and you're like, hold on, what just happened? Like the wind just kind of...
I don't know if that experience, but okay.
You never had that before? No. Where like the wind will come and hit you forwards and then it will like come back? You never had that? Okay.
I can't recall.
It's like a gust of wind.
Yeah, I've had gusts of wind before, but not that I can recall it being like that. So anywho, moving on. So what ends up happening is that the storm, literally it's chasing them. Like it is coming after them full speed ahead and they're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? But they do survive it. So lucky them. So they survive it, but then they realize, but how they survive it, I won't go into that, but how they survive it, how the car was after it, what all happened, who almost got sucked out or did get sucked out, like it was intense, like listening to it. And oh, by the way, her phone was recording the entire time. So therefore,
were they in a car?
They were in a car.
Was it a red car?
No, I don't know.
Okay, I was about to say because I saw a video of some kids screaming and
no,
Jesus, and I didn't know if it was that one.
No, so they ended up. I won't even say, but anyway, long story short. She had her phone still recording because she said when she was recording up to the sky so that you could see what was going on. So she had like, if it was in the dash, she had it facing up so you could look through the mirror because she was like, it was no need for it to be like facing forward. It needed to be facing up so you could see outside. But you could see the darkness just start. And it like went from total daylight, sun shining, everybody's happy, graduations are happening, all of that, to pitch black, dark, can't see a thing, the sun is not there. And at one point during their experience, she was like, I looked up and I could see the sun.
Oh, she was in the eye of the storm.
I was in the eye of the storm.
Get out of here.
And that is Like, you have to hear that story. That thing was crazy.
I believe it.
Because
then
like the
normal.
bad thing is, there's like
normal.
all of a sudden, and she was like, I could see the vortexes. I could just see everything going on. And she was like, and I could see the sky. I could see everything up. And she was like, then it hit me, because she said some people were like, oh, it's calm. Okay, great. And they were like, no. You still have the other side of it coming. Like, you had all this wind going one direction. Now you're going to have it all going another. Like, stay still, kind of thing. And Cecil had the same thing. He's in the ice cream shop. Storm happened so fast. His boss was like, hey, go outside and get the chairs and bring them in, and the umbrellas and, all of that for the ice cream shop. So he's going out to get it. And he said in the time it took him to get back in, he was like, no, we got to go hide. Like, we got to go do whatever.
I mean, if the storm's that big.
It was huge. And so what ends up happening, but you can't tell it's huge when you're looking. I mean, you could see that it was huge, but depending on the angle.
What time do you think this was?
I don't know. After a high school graduation, maybe.
So like,
I think it was like an 11 o'clock graduation. So like 3. Yeah, maybe something like that. And so what ends up happening is that he like tells them, go inside. And this couple is like, no, we're going to go ahead and get in our car and try to, outpace it. And he was like, no, you've got to stay inside. So he basically took a family and like pushed them into a bathroom, because he was like, this is the most secure place, or the freezer or something. But it wasn't enough room for even him. So there was a few other people that there wasn't enough room for. So he said he had to actually find another place for them to be that wasn't the most secure, because it was an outside wall that was right there, because they were the only ones in the interior of the building. So he has his story about the wall falling apart and what all started to happen, and cars coming up towards the wall. Like, it was crazy things.
What category was it?
You know what? I don't even think they said the entire time. Let me look that up, because I
can't remember if they said what category it was.
Yeah, so I'll check with that.
But yeah, I wonder if IMDb would have what category. It has to be like a 5. 4.
Yeah, maybe
4 or 5. I guess it depends on how big it is or whatever. But if they were
5,
it was a 5.
Yeah, it was a 5.
Because like, for you to be in the eye of the storm for so long, it's got to be pretty big.
Yeah.
If you said that people were starting to be like, oh, it's done, it's over. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we had Chad too, who was the meteorologist kid, and with him, he had just gotten this ability to come to Joplin, Missouri, to do an internship.
Okay.
So he was meeting with a meteorologist. He was going to be able to do things behind the scenes, all of that. He is flying into the place on the day of this storm.
Yeah, that's right.
And so he gets to the to Joplin. He's there. Him and his mom are eating something, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Yeah, a storm's coming." Blah 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 on the news, and he was just like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, let me go outside and check it out. This is pretty cool. Like, I'll get to see one in person. This is great. This is where I want to move to, because I want to be a part of all the action. And so all of a sudden his mom is like, wait a minute, hold on, a tornado is coming? Like, shouldn't we be like scurrying or doing something? And everybody in there was like, oh no, we get these alerts all the time. These sirens go off all the time. Like, nobody was even paying attention to it. And then what ends up happening is that Chad comes back in with his high-pitched teenage voice, like, we need to go. Everybody needs to get out. He said he's like yelling and screaming at people. Nobody's paying him any attention.
Yeah, because it's all glass, right?
It was glass inside a diner kind of thing. Yeah. And so he has his situation and story. But part of his story was that after everything was over, the meteorologist was like, come here, and we need you as our intern to kind of help pull data, do this, do that. So awesome. He really got a great experience, which was awesome. You also had this guy, his experience, mind-blowing. So him and his friends were the ones in the car. Remember I said I didn't get his name, but him and his friends are in the car. They're riding. His dad calls him and says, hey, y'all take shelter. A storm is coming. A really bad storm. It's really dark here. And he was like, Dad, the sun is shining. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's great. A beautiful day. I don't know what you're talking about. She said it didn't even take 10 minutes. And all of a sudden it was black. Rain pouring. You're starting to see debris, like the whole 9 yards. He literally said his friend was driving, and they're going and they're like screaming and they're trying to figure out what they should do and how they should hide. Like, where do we go, dude? Like, what do we do? Like, what? Like, where can we go? We're in a car. The car is getting sucked up, basically. And literally it kind of happens. Oh, wow. And he gets sucked out the window. Oh, wow. He gets sucked out the window. He said he just was trying to put himself in the fetal position as he's blowing around
I guess
in the tornado. He's literally in the tornado. Things are hitting
But I
against
wonder
him.
if it feels like forever and it could have been 2 seconds or something.
I don't know.
I wonder about
I don't
that.
think it was that
Because, you know, when
long.
they say when something traumatic happens, it feels like it's slow time.
Slow
When
time. He said he saw his whole life in front of his eyes. He just said it was just this crazy experience. He could see the light.
Oh, okay.
So he must have been in the middle of it as well. But he just said
around the middle of it.
Right. And he just said he just remembers getting hit by a bunch of things like while he was going through it. He wakes up and his friends are starting to, like, they're screaming for him, first of all, but then they start walking up to him and he's like opening his eyes like, why are they standing up and why am I on the ground? How is this possible? Because he was just so disoriented, but he couldn't move. And and his friend was like, I feel like I saw his heart literally in his chest. Like, I feel like I literally, like, he was just saying that he was so mangled.
Oh, no.
That he was just like, I just felt like I could see everything.
He was still alive?
He was still alive. Yeah, he's still talking. He's doing this, documentary.
Wow.
So it's just mind-boggling. Now, they didn't explain it really of
They
what
put
they
him
were
back together?
saying. But he does have this huge scar on his chest. His whole nipple, everything is gone. He ended up, people as a part of this, because everything was sucked up into this vortex.
Yeah.
Some people who survived ended up getting a flesh-eating bacteria. So
From
because
whatever
the
was sucked up
water
inside of it?
that was sucked up into it from the rivers or the
Oh,
whatever,
yeah, that's probably all
that was
toxic.
all in it.
Oh.
And it got into
I don't even-
people's...
you don't think
you
about
don't think
that.
about that. But
don't think
it
about
got
that.
into people's injuries.
What if it goes over a farm and there's like cow manure and chicken manure? You know, they
It's
use
just
that
flying
as
around everything.
fertilizer, and now it's stuck in there, and now it's rain and everything in that. So now
It's
you just got
everything.
a poop stew.
So anyway, they said that there was some kind of algae or something that was probably in the water that was also getting sucked up into this. So certain people ended up having flesh-eating bacteria, and he was one of them. So he was in the hospital for a really long time, but he lived. But his story is just crazy. So, and just him explaining it, and then they reenact it. So they kind of show a person looking like they're in the fetal position going around
the circles
in this tornado, and it's just like, and then somebody else was like, I felt myself lifting off the ground.
But so what happens? Like you said, he has a big scar, but what else? Like,
I mean, he's able to walk. He's able to do
Get
everything.
out of here.
But see, I think he just had so many injuries. He probably was like, I hurt too much to even try. But like when he was in the hospital, they never said that he had like a spinal injury or anything that would make it that he couldn't walk. They did show him in a wheelchair for a really long period of time.
So it could have been his spine was okay.
Yeah, and then they showed him, he was riding a bicycle towards the end of the documentary.
Right.
He's had kids now.
Wow.
Like, it's just, he's gone ahead and lived his life. But they did show his body and how it looked.
Yeah.
Just, the deformity of the experience he went through, which you don't know how much of that is from the injuries of it and how much is from the flesh-eating bacteria.
Yeah, God, yeah, it's true.
So anyway,
but that's so surprising that he lives,
Yeah, exactly. But it just showed, they said that how quickly Joplin kind of tried to come back from it, how by the time the next school year started, they had ability to go to school, but it wasn't at the high school. The high school was ripped to shreds. If everybody was still in that graduation,
it would have been done.
It would have been done. It would have been hundreds of more people who passed away. And so I'll tell in a second.
Yeah, especially
how many
if it's
did.
like if they were doing like an outside graduation and they had to bring everybody inside.
Anyway.
I'm saying, but if they had to bring everybody inside, it would have been so many casualties of people trying to make it inside for a graduation. That's going to be a lot of people.
It's 100 people. 100
and
people.
then just
but the graduation
itself.
was inside, and it was a huge school. But the problem was,
but the thing is they were already gone. Right?
It just fell apart. Yeah. Like the school just literally, it's like cinder blocks everywhere. It just literally fell apart. But they did say that when the school system when the school year came back, that the kids ended up utilizing a mall. And that's where they had their classes.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was a mall, I guess, that didn't necessarily, it wasn't full of places. So they just used empty rooms, spaces and use that for classrooms. And that's
smart.
what they ended up doing. And I was like, wow, that's amazing.
They should do that anyway. Why not?
Yeah, they probably could.
Because each classroom, each of those malls, don't they all have restrooms in the back?
What do you mean?
Like the mall. So in the mall,
well, they use restrooms a little bit everywhere.
No, I'm saying each one of in the mall, each one of those those storefronts, they have a restroom in the back. So if you were doing a classroom in there. The kids don't have to walk all around. They could just go right there.
Oh yeah, potentially. Yeah. And then also it makes you wonder how secure it would be if another tornado came through.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so I mean, at least you have interior walls, you have places that maybe you would be able to go to even in that instance. But they said that it basically was 125 people were killed. The tornado itself was 6 miles long.
What?
That's how massive it was. It was, well, let me go back. Let me take it again. It went 6 miles of destruction. Maybe I should say that.
Okay. I thought you were saying.
No, at first I was saying that, but I was like, no.
That's got to be a category 25.
No, it was 6 miles worth of destruction that it caused, but it was big. Like when they showed it, it's like two sides of the highway. Like it was it wasn't a small, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if it's an F5.
Yeah, and they said that it was 900 people injured. You had the weatherman from the Weather Channel who came there. He was crying on the air. Oh, wow. Like it was that. And then they were like, well, and plus they were like, oh, you're here. Like, because he just saw so much that they were like, oh, you're seeing everything. Like he could see body parts. He could see anything. Everything. There were kids who passed away. Like it was all of that. Jeez. And so he was just like literally crying on the air. They said people from all over the world covered it. Everywhere in the world. Like you had people in Germany, people in, France, like everywhere covering it. And they said that basically they ended up having where, and the gentleman, his friend, remember I was telling you that the EMT guy and his father who's the EMT guy, he was helping him, and his friend Colin, who was he passed away. Oh. He was the YouTuber. Yeah. All fun, loving. He had over 1 million followers on YouTube in 2011.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so basically he was like, he would have probably been a Mr. Beast at that point. So, but he was just talking about his day and how it was in high school and this is what's going on and we're playing some pranks and blah, blah, blah. Like he was just doing all this fun stuff. And they said that he was in his car driving home from graduation and the twister pulled up his car. Oh, God. They knew it pulled his car and it sucked him, they said, out of the sunroof. Oh. Because of the fact that his nephew was in the car with him. And they said that he was trying to hold on to his nephew while the storm was going on around them. And he was just praying and praying and praying and praying. And then the nephew, I think, might have been buckled in or something like that. But then he got sucked out. And then they were searching and searching and searching, trying to find him. And they ended up finding him days later. Jeez. And
I would expect that. Like you just walking down the street, next thing you know, you see a person.
And they said where his car was, there was water, a pond, and that's where they ended up finding him. So it was just really just devastating. And so anyway, so that is the story. And like I said, I'm just telling the stories very high level, but that's the story of Twister caught in the storm in Joplin, Missouri. If you want to check it out and hear everybody's stories, but also there's a lot of video coverage, like real coverage, real coverage of the ice cream shop, real coverage from the girl's phone because of the fact that you could
must
hear
be
the wind
right
blowing.
When everybody was pulling their phones out. Everybody started pulling their phones out.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, I'll let you go because I talked for 20. Well, we both talked for 20.
We tag teamed that one.
Okay. Well, there you go. What do you have, sis?
All right. So what I have is. Oh wait, how can you see that?
Sorry, it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
Yep, you can watch the Twister Caught in the Storm on Netflix.
Yes.
All right.
All right. So what I have is called Common Side Effects. You can watch it on HBO. Okay. Now here's what the thing. So. It's these two kids. Well, not kids, but there's two people. It's a guy named Marshall. Okay. You're following him along. And he finds this mushroom. Now, this mushroom can cure anything. If you're dead, if you eat the mushroom, you come back to life.
Oh, wow. That is everything.
Everything. But the only thing is, he found it. He's tested it on himself, but he's only had it for a little while, and he doesn't know what's going to actually happen. To him. Mm-hmm. So he's trying to figure out how. He was like, wouldn't it be amazing if there was one pill that could cure anything? He was like, well, I got the mushroom, so now we have to do is keep making this mushroom. Okay. He couldn't figure out how to make the mushroom. Now, as he's doing this, Big Pharma, they're like, they are basically doing what they do for all the United States. You know what? We know how we can cure that, but we're just going to keep giving you this. That's just going to keep making you come back.
Yeah, because we want our money.
Yeah. So they're like that. The main guy who I guess is like the CEO, he is like, I don't care. Figure out a way to make this pill that does this, so we can make sure we have money so they can keep coming back. Like, I don't care if the actual formula for someone to get cured is this, but you need to cut it and make it this so then they can keep coming back.
That's so terrible.
I know, it's no horrible. So, who works for him is his Marshall's friend. They were actually in high school together, so they were like lab partners or whatever. Okay. But yeah, so his best friend from high school, who is Frances, she works for the bigwig. I'm just going to say Big Pharma, because you don't really need to know what their names are. But she works for Big Pharma, and while she's working for Big Pharma, she is trying to get her way in. So she's like, I'm going to make a break. I know I am. I'm going to put my name on the map in this company. I'm going to do great things. But then also the thing that her why she's doing this is because her mother has dementia. Her mother doesn't talk. Her mother doesn't do anything. So she sees her mother. Her mother just sits there in a chair. She's in an assisted living place. So now all of this is happening. You just find out about them. And Marshall runs into Francis. So now they're sitting down, they're talking, and he has a little turtle. But she's like, Francis, she is like, Marshall, what's going on with you? And she's like, you look frantic. And he says, yeah, I got to tell you something. I found this mushroom and it does some amazing things. And I think that this could really help a lot of people, and I want to do something with it. Yeah, would you be willing to help me with this? And she was like, I want to get more information about it. As it's happening, her phone's blowing up. There's her boss, Big Pharma. So she's like, okay, yeah, I'll get back to you. They talk about the thing. They meet later on, talk about what exactly it is. When she finds out, that's when she's like, this is going to be my big break. So she wants to tell her boss, Rick. Hey, Rick, but she doesn't have the right information, so she hasn't told Rick yet. And then she's also like, well, if this is true, and I haven't actually seen it with my eyes yet, but if this is true, then my mother could use it. Yeah. So as all of this is happening, Big Pharma gets wind of there is a mushroom out there that can like cure anything, any disease. Yep. And now they actually have people going out. They are putting hitmen out to go and find this guy Marshall.
So that way they can steal it from him?
No. So then that way they can kill him, and that mushroom was never there.
Oh, so they don't even want to fake a little bit of the mushroom.
So also what Big Pharma is doing is they have different construction places. So one of the places that Marshall went to was a construction site where he got his tortoise, Socrates. Okay. I think it was Socrates, his name. Anyway, so when he went to go pick him up, that's when he saw the mushrooms, but it's on the other side of a toxic waste dump that Big Pharma has made for where they do all of their manufacturing. So he's like, so now Marshall is trying to figure out how he can make these mushrooms. He's getting spores and everything. He's like, okay, so how can I make these? And he can't figure out how to make them. He's like, something is missing. And he's like, okay, so maybe it's the toxicity of the water that's run off from this plant. Maybe that's what makes it grow and makes us be able to come back alive. Maybe we're radioactive, but it works. So he's trying to figure out what to do. And as all of this is happening, this lady that he used to work with, she pulls up on him. Frances is like still trying to get her boss to come in and like get all the information, so and then that way they can blow up and not Marshall. And they have some detectives that are like, why is there a hit out on this guy? So these two detectives are like going and they're trying to figure out, who is this guy? Like, he's a guy who has a button-up bowling shirt on that's wide open. He looks like the Big Lebowski. He has long hair, long beard, like cargo shorts and flip-flops. That's him. And he's carrying around a turtle. Okay. So he's like, why is it, like, they're trying to figure out what is it about this guy, not realizing that he has the key to go ahead and cure everybody in the world. Right. And that's the reason why. So this whole show is about the Francis trying to get the formula. Wow. For the mushroom to be able to grow more. And then it's also about Francis and Marshall's their relationship back and forth from when they used to be friends, him thinking that she's helping him. Is she actually helping him, or is she doing this for Big Pharma? What happens with her mother? What happens with, like, it's a lot of things that go on in it, but it's all like Big Brother's watching. So like he goes to see his brother, and as he goes to see his brother who has like some exotic wild animal place, he's like, "Hey man, I need to do blah 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 blah." His brother's like, "You can't say that, right? Because they're watching."
Oh gosh, really?
Big Brother's here. Yeah, so it's like that. But actually, like Marshall's like, yeah, they really are, because they are trying to kill him the entire time. But the best part of this is, well, it might not be the best part for some people, but this is an animated TV show.
Oh, I
that is on
putting
HBO.
That together
Exactly, yeah. And the way that it's made is kind of like it's not drawn to make it look childish. It's actually drawn like an anime or a comic book or something like that. So it's all drawn where people look like people. Nobody looks weird.
So they don't have the weird shaped faces of anime and stuff like that?
No. It's not anything weird. I mean, they just look like people. Like, here, I'll show you a picture of it. If anybody wants to look it up, it's Common Side Effects. And like I said, it's on HBO, but all of their everything
side effects.
Yeah, see?
Oh yeah, no, they look like regular people.
Yeah, they just look like regular people, but drawn up cartoon people. Yeah, cartoon people. It's not like Bob's Burgers where everybody looks like they don't have a chin. Yeah, I love shout out to Bob's Burgers though, because I do love it. But yeah, so that's what the whole story is. It's just because I'm still watching it. It's coming out every Monday, so I'm still watching it to figure out what's going on. But as it's going on, they're just trying to figure out. Everybody's coming from Marshall, and Marshall only wants to get the mushrooms to make sure he can heal the world.
Wow.
So,
okay.
But I like it. It's dope. I'm here for it.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
What you got next?
Well, I have a hot topic. Well, and I only have one, so I guess it's just the topic that I'm going to talk about.
A hot topic.
You have one
out the air, ma'am.
Huh? Yeah, you can pull one out the air. Okay, got it. Well, it was just going to be about the earthquake.
What earthquake?
You didn't hear about the earthquake?
Oh wait, that it hit in.
It hit in it's Myanmar.
Yeah, Myanmar.
And
you did tell me that.
Yeah, so it hit in Myanmar, and that is basically in Burmese, and the aftershocks of that went all the way to Thailand.
Oh, wow.
And in Bangkok, there was a building being constructed, a high-rise building, and the building collapsed as they were, right there near it. So what you see, if you look at any videos on it, is that you see the construction workers realizing that the building is shaking and like looking like it's about to collapse, which in a way, it's kind of like, all right, they should have been building it for such a way that it would survive an earthquake. So it's probably best that it did collapse, because if you had that happen when it was full of people, like say if it happened at night and people were sleeping and an earthquake hit, and all these people would have passed away because the building would have collapsed. It wasn't structurally sound enough to survive it. And so, but the building starts to collapse, and all of a sudden you just see when I say hauling butt, like they were running, because in my mind it kind of looked like 9/11 a little bit, because when the building collapsed and that smoke plume comes, and then you just are like trying to outrun it, because you're like, what is it's going to be in my lungs, in my mouth, in my eyes? Like, right, exactly. And so you just saw them like hustling. And so they said that the earthquake was a 7.7.
Gee, have we had 7s before?
I've seen a 7.2, I think I've heard of here. But yeah, 7.7. It rattled much of Southeast Asia on Friday. And there are mounting casualties based on that skyscraper that flattened. Actually, it says here, resulting in mounting casualties and flattening skyscrapers. So some happened in Myanmar and some happened in Thailand. And so they said the episode was in Mandalay, and that it is the second largest country in Myanmar. And it says here that Bangkok is 600 miles away.
Yeah, Thailand is a distance. But I mean, Myanmar is pretty big.
Yeah.
I didn't realize where it was at.
Exactly. And it says here that it was felt so much 600 miles away. They had significant damage. The total collapse of that skyscraper that was under construction. And I even saw on like TikTok there was some kids, and they were, well, not kids, 20 somethings, I'll say. But anyway, they were in their apartment, right? And all of a sudden the building starts moving. You hear them like, oh my God, what do we do? What do we do? What do? They get out their phone. And then they're like watching, and they're looking out, like they're standing in the doorway of the apartment.
You're supposed to stand in the doorway. Yeah.
But they're standing there not from a perspective of safety as much as it was, do we go out or do we stay in here? Do we go out? Do we stay in here? And everybody in the comments was like, run, get out of the building. Buildings can collapse. You know, you just never know. Like, try to go down the stairwell, like do something to get out. But the wall starts crumbling. The wall is crumbling.
What floor are they on?
I have no idea.
Because if it was the second floor,
it was not. It wasn't the second floor. It was higher than that.
Oh, okay.
And they were standing, like, because they had already opened the door, so they weren't really near the window. But they opened the door, and when they opened the door, you could. I guess they were like, and at first it was like, oh my God, we're in an earthquake. Oh, wait a minute, like this might be a little serious. And one of the girls, her scream was just so high pitched, but you just saw the wall like crack, crack, crack. And then you're like, oh, wow, like this might be serious. Then it was like plaster.
What? This might be serious?
I mean, no, I'm not saying they said that. It's like in my mind, I'm watching it singing like, oh, they're starting to realize that this is serious. But they didn't say that. They're just like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And everybody in the comments was like, shut up. This is our future.
Exactly.
Like, they have no survival skills.
I don't know what's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is the future is that it's going to get to the point where we're going to go back to like rocks and sticks.
Well, I did just order a survivalist drinking water from the pond kind of thing because the world does feel like it's a little bit on fire. And so I'm like, look, I might end up buying the bucket of food that's supposed to last for 25 years. I mean, you never know.
I'm just going to go to Uncle Sonny's.
There you go. If you can get there.
If I can get there. I'm sure I can get there.
You can get there. Yeah. But it's like, really, it's like, funny enough, I went to go get that because somebody was saying on a TikTok shop, like, oh, you should get the survivalist straw because even if you're hiking or camping or anything, it takes out 99% of the impurities. So you can just put it at a pond, suck through the straw, and you'll have water because if the power goes out, you don't have water. So therefore they were like, look, you never know. Something could happen with a grid. Somebody could try to come after,
because we're pissing everybody off as Americans of the United States.
And so therefore it's like if those things happen, then that, right? So then anyway, so I ended up just ordering that. So we'll have some straws. I got two. I'll save you two.
Oh, thanks.
And it's 18.
So I'll save you two.
Yeah.
So Terry's out. You just
No, I don't know if I'd get to him.
No, that's true.
I'd have to get to him to give it to him.
That's true.
So,
but I also know how to take the fabric and do the.
Oh, I'm not trusting anything other than that straw, and I barely trust the straw.
I was about to say I would probably trust the fabric before I would trust the straw.
No, because just because you put on fabric, that it could be amoebas.
No, it's amoebas.
Amoebas,
yeah. But no, it's different layers of cups. So you have to do it. You take the fabric through. The water goes through the fabric a few times before.
I'm gonna be too thirsty for that. So anyway, but right. So but that is a situation that happened this week, and so there are casualties. They haven't said specifically how many. I've heard 170. I think that I had heard last, but it could be definitely more just because of the fact that they really just don't know. They haven't gotten through all the debris, all of those things. There's also and I don't even know because I'm trying to stay out of politics. I'm trying to stay out of everything, but there's some chat that people were in.
Okay.
And it released information about the possibilities of things that we're doing in war-related things. And we made that aware to a journalist.
What?
We made it aware to a journalist. And so basically it's like the planning of a war that nobody is supposed to know about, but they were on all right, I'll have to read it. Hold on a second. Here we go. Give me a second.
I feel like a war is always planned though. It's just waiting to push the button to go.
Okay, here it is. So people were using an app to communicate.
And this is the United States?
Yes.
Okay.
That they were warned last week was not secure. So, like they were trying to say with Hillary, lock her up. She's using stuff that's not secure, her emails or whatever. So anyway, they're told it's not secure. Yeah. They're using it and it's not secure. So while they were using the app, a journalist added to the group accidentally, was added to the group accidentally.
Accidentally?
Some people from China and Russia were also hacking into the app, and they're seeing all this personal info that's out there, but it's also saying that there was something about like a fist, and then it was an American flag, and then it's like all these emojis and different things, and it was like secret codes and things that they were trying to do to talk about what they were going to do and who was going to go to war with who and all these different things. That's what I'm getting out of it. I didn't really like.
Yeah, who are these people that had it? Who are these people that's supposed to have been in this secret?
See, this is why I probably shouldn't have talked about this.
I mean, I'm just wondering. Because I mean, like, is this like Congress? Is this like these state officials? Like, who are these people? If it's just like some people who work for Comcast, then I don't care.
No. These are people in the government.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, there's a chat hack that was going on that was I don't even know who the person was, but I'll try to do more research and come back.
Yeah, it's just weird that, but I mean, and nothing surprises me anymore.
Yeah, I probably need to play the
I wonder if they're going to have to do a draft, because I doubt that these kids, the newer generation, are actually going to the military. I feel like they want to be Twitch, TikTok, YouTube famous, and they're not going to want to fight for their country. Because they probably don't really like their country.
Yeah. So, so let's see.
Shared classified information, operational details of war plans and attacks that had not been launched yet. Ironically, he's the one who was most vociferous, I guess, back in 2016 when he was a Fox News analyst and calling for Hillary Clinton to lose her job and be prosecuted for what many experts say was a far less serious security breach.
The technology that others can use once they've got into devices is to listen and see in real time. Who knows what they heard and what they have?
Traditionally, with respect to national security issues, either in the military, the White House, the intelligence community, that work, written product, electronic, email communication, phone calls, it all takes place in these secure facilities called specially compartmented information facilities, or SCIFs. And you can't bring your personal electronic device into a SCIF. So my whole career, I left it in my car every day, because you can't bring the phone into the office. If you do, you are in big trouble. Not everyone can live up to those standards. But if you are, then again, you have to abide by the rules, and you have to acknowledge the sensitivity of the information you are dealing with and treat it appropriately.
Hegseth appears to be the one who shared.
I feel like I don't understand why confidential stuff is even out anywhere but from ear to mouth.
What do you mean? Say that again?
Like, if it's confidential, it should not be in emails. There should not be confidential emails.
Right.
You can get emails. It should just be like from my mouth to your ears. That is the confidential part. That's it. I don't feel, because of the easier way to hack into stuff. You hack into the cloud, you can get everything.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying. Like, classified stuff should be classified.
Right.
Like,
which is why. But also, why would you be putting something classified on a public chat?
Yeah.
Like, it's not even like a chat. Like, this is a chat that Joe Smo could have been on.
That's what I'm saying. Like, was it like somebody was like, "Oh, let me get these people together and tell them this"?
I don't know.
It's weird.
So yeah. Oh, you got Stephen Colbert. I wonder what he's talking about with that, and then I'll let you.
Okay. With the full depth, with the complexity and depth of their incompetence on display, these folks have tried every kind of spin they could think of. Hegseth talked to reporters fresh off a plane in Hawaii, and he went on the offensive against Jeffrey Goldberg.
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist. This is the guy that peddles in garbage. What
So
he does.
he's the one who did it, but yet he is yelling about the person
on the war planning group chat.
Yeah, why was he in it?
Was he in the chat? This guy's an idiot and everyone hates him. You're the guys who put him in the chat. You did. He's a moron. Okay, then. Don't put him in the secret chat.
if he's a bad guy.
So there you go. And then, oh yeah, he was getting closer and closer to the screen, and that's like halfway through what he had to say about it.
Yeah.
But then somebody else showed a little meme. Our sister-in-law Jessie sent it to us, and it was like, shout out Jess, but it was a meme, and it was Elon saying they have a secret chat. Like he didn't know about it. So it's like, oh, I'm out of the loop of that. So anyway, but yeah, so those are two things that have been going on. So yes, there is a secret war chat that was going on that a journalist accidentally got added to and made it public. But also it's like, so they're planning a war. Like they're just wanting to go to war.
Yeah.
Like that's what the thing is. So, i.e., why I'm going to need to get survivalist stuff because because if it's not a war with another country, it'll be a war within our country. So
if it's a war within our country,
war.
I think I would want to go back to Dad's house.
Yeah, you're just going to live off the land.
I mean, yeah, because it's going to be so much harder for you to get to me than here in a county.
Yeah, that's true.
Like here
that's
in
true.
like a semi-city.
If you're in a city or
if
a
I'm in the
county
wooded area, like you don't even know where I would be.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
you just go ahead and put your camouflage on and call it a day.
Yeah.
All right.
Get one of those invisibility shield.
There you go.
Something.
Something.
You know what I'm saying?
Anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Well, there
so
you go.
let me talk about my next thing.
Yay.
All right. So what I want to talk about is called Plane. It is.
I feel like I saw that, but
I was just talking to you about. Remember
what is it on?
It's on Peacock.
Okay.
It is on Peacock. All right. So what Plane is let me give you the cast. So you got Gerard Butler. Mm-hmm. He is playing Brody Torrance. Okay. He is he's a pilot. Okay. He's a commercial flight pilot. You have Michael Coulter, who plays another guy who ends up being a prisoner who is flying on the plane. Okay. Let me see who else. You have Tony Godwin who plays Scarsdale. He's a guy who comes in who tries to help with the issue that's happening. Okay. Basically, everybody else is like
not people you know.
Not people you really know. You've seen them on some things, but you don't really know them. Okay. But so what is happening is that Gerard Butler and his co-pilot, they're flying. They're leaving from I can't remember where they're leaving
Fly
from.
me to the moon.
They're not leaving from the moon or going there, but yeah. But I can't remember where they were leaving from. But as they're flying back, it's not that many people on the plane. Okay. One. Now as they're flying, they're having an issue with a storm coming. Okay. And some turbulence. Mm. So they're like, all right, put on the seatbelts. Nothing crazy.
Twister?
No. Tornado. Nothing crazy. So it was just like, okay, we got a little bit of turbulence. Let's get people in the seatbelts because I know there's a storm coming. I just don't know how bad the storm is and we need to get higher. Well, as they were trying to get higher, this plane gets struck by lightning. Ooh. So now some of their power things are down. And I didn't even know what the name of this was, but they said that when the lightning struck, they lost all avionics, yeah. Avionics, which basically is like everything
to keep you in the sky.
Yeah. Like
so the power went out of it basically, and you're just this flying
but so they had no battery power, but they had engine power. Get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Fuel, yes.
Yes.
But not battery. So everything that was electrical?
Yeah. Gone.
No. Mm-hmm. It was like, so when you see a movie and you see all the dash is all lit up and it's like orange and red, yellow and all that. No, this was completely gray. This was, you can't see anything. Mm-hmm. And they were like, okay, what are we going to do now that we've lost the avionics? Like, what are we going to do? So as that's happening, they're like, all right, we're going to have to do an emergency landing. Mm. So let's do an emergency landing. They're like, where do you think that we are? Yeah. He was like, because they were over the water and then they end up getting to land. So they,
it's like, how do you
he was like, where do you think we are? And his co-pilot was like, I think a dangerous place. Like, I think that we're right outside of such and such. They were wrong. They were in the danger. The danger was there. And they just
they landed in the danger.
They landed and looked and said, oh, there's danger right there.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Literally, that's how it was. So, now, with all of this happening, the turbulence and everything as they're going to land, now you have the stewardess is up because she's trying to help somebody who drops their phone. Now, the person who drops their phone is a police officer who's with the actual inmate who's, the prisoner. So when she's going, it's like, sir, you need to sit down in your seat. The turbulence is bad. What happens? The plane nosedives. Now they have both hit the ceiling. And then when he pulls it back up, they both land and snap their necks on the seats because of the fact that you were in the air and you came down and there's seats there. Yes, so
they're not.
They were
us
deceased.
anymore.
Yes.
No.
So they land, and then that's when this is like the first few minutes.
Wow.
This is maybe 10 minutes. Once they get landing and everything, they're like, okay, we got the fuel out. We got some fuel out. We couldn't get the fuel out the other side. We're having issues with everything. So now we need to get everybody out the plane. Everybody get out the plane. Now, once they got everybody out the plane, now they're like, okay, the captain's like, I'm going to take responsibility for everybody on this. Like, he's like a captain goes down with the ship.
With the ship, like Titanic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he's like, I'm going to take responsibility for everybody, and I'm going to make sure that we survive whatever is going on. I don't have any way to reach anyone, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk and see if I can find something. I think when we were going down, I saw a building. So as this is happening, he said, yeah, Mr. Such and Such said he was going to come with me. I think his last name was like Gaspiate or something like that. He was like, yeah, he's coming with me. And the prisoner is just like, I ain't never said I was coming with you.
Oh, the prisoner is the one.
The prisoner is now like, they have the prisoner. He's sitting by himself. Everybody's scared to death of him because they're like, oh, he's a murderer. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he's like telling his story. He's like,
who's the prisoner?
The prisoner is what's his name? Mike Coulter.
Okay.
The guy who plays what was the name?
The superhero.
Yeah, the superhero.
Yeah, I can't think of
dude.
the name of it. It's not Black Lightning, but the other one.
But because everybody's scared of him, the captain's like, look, I'm just taking you with me, like, bro, like, just come with me. He was like, weren't you military? He was like, yeah, I was military. He was like, okay, so see, that's why I need you. I don't have anybody on this plane that I could take with me. And I still want to leave my co-pilot here. Yeah, that's
Sorry,
Luke
I
Cage.
had to think of it. Yeah,
he's like, I still want to leave my co-pilot here, so then that way he can make sure all the people are together, they can get water, blah, 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 blah. We just got to wait until all the sparks and everything stops, so then people can get back onto the plane to get their stuff. We don't want to fire. So as they're walking, what happens? Dude just dips off. Like, he gets him out of his handcuffs, he just looks, turns around, dude's gone. Wow. So now, Brody's like, okay, so he keeps walking, he gets to a place, he sees a building, he goes in, he's doing his Mayday. He actually gets through to air traffic control. Air traffic control says, yeah, we've been getting prank phone calls all about this all day, saying thank you, keep the line open, and then hang up on him. What? So he's like, oh, what am I going to do? So he calls his daughter. And then from there, they're trying to figure out where exactly they are at. Right. Now, as this is happening, there is stuff happening in where all the people are by the plane because all the danger's there.
And what is danger? Can you not tell us?
Danger is some dude.
Is it like pirates?
They're not pirates. I don't know what to call them exactly, but they are like gangsters, I would say. But it's like I don't even know the name of the country that they were at, but it was somewhere where it was like a drug and war. It was like a lot of war in this area. And I want to say,
why are you landing your plane in the middle of our war? And, by the way, are you trying to take our drugs? And by the way,
so one of the guys had said, my friends in Malaysia had told me that a plane was going to be showing up, and as it spies. And it was like, and the guy who was telling him, he was like, I don't think it was spies. He was like, this is a really big plane. Like, I don't think spies would come on a really big plane. So then they go and they're trying to, so that's what I'm saying. By the time they leave, the two guys leave to go. When they come back, the people are there.
I'm surprised they could even go. If you're in danger, you would be in danger just trying to go.
Exactly, right? exactly. So, so now they are killing people, taking hostages. It's a lot going on.
Wow.
But now...
And this is a movie, not a series.
Yeah, this is a movie. Okay. But now you're like, okay, so what are y'all going to do? You don't have any way for anybody to know where y'all are at. You talked to air traffic control. That lady didn't do nothing. You told your daughter, but your daughter has to now get through to air traffic control. What are you going to do with all these people?
Where they were.
Yeah, exactly. Then also... what are you going to do with the dead bodies that are all still on the plane? What can you do with the plane? Is the plane still safe? If you go up to the plane, it's going to blow up. Like, he's had so much going on. You don't know what's happening. And how are we going to be safe? So all of this is like, it's unfurling in front of him. And he's being tough as he can, because, they might write movies for Gerard Butler.
Of course.
Like, he does the same thing in every movie.
He's silly.
So, and then what they did was they have the other prisoner who actually comes and helps him, and they end up being really close and helping each other out. And then it's just trying to figure out, how the heck did they get out of here?
Yeah,
that's what the whole thing is.
How do you get back?
How do you get back? And I think it was like
maybe
maybe 12 people on that plane. That big, huge plane.
Yeah, because you probably can't get. I mean, you may not be able to get it off the ground again. If you can't, you're in a dangerous situation. Can anybody even try to come and get you? Even if somebody tries to come by water.
Yeah, but then it's like, where are you?
Right, where are you?
No idea.
Yeah.
You have no idea. You don't know if you start walking to the west, if you're going to end up walking deeper into land, or if you're going to be where water is. Or, you could be walking in the middle of the Amazon. You have no clue. That's got to be the scariest thing in the world.
Yeah, because you've dropped somewhere that you already know is dangerous, but you don't know how. Yeah, where to go, how to navigate it.
Nothing.
What's here? What do I eat? What do I drink?
Exactly.
How do I survive?
What is going to kill me?
Right. What's going to kill me?
What's going to kill me?
Are there animals out here?
Yeah, is there animals,
people?
Insects? What is out here that could potentially harm me? So yeah, that's what the movie is. It's just going through and him trying to figure out how to get everybody safe. The prisoner also going ahead and getting helping out, and like then you realize this is an actually good guy. He didn't do what they're saying that he did, or maybe he did, and he's just still a good guy. Maybe he was just doing like following orders or whatever because he was in the military,
right?
So.
And does he help save everybody?
Yeah, he helps save everybody.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they come together.
Yeah, they come together to do it. But but it's almost like we almost needed him on this plane to help us.
Exactly.
Because if he wasn't here, we
then
would
there
have
would
been
be
even
no
worse
way.
off.
Yeah, because the things that he was doing, was SEAL Team 6 or what's the name of the what was it, Navy SEAls or whatever. It was like the Navy SEAls Green Beret. Wow. It was like that, the stuff that he was doing, because he's walking with the gun and he's tapping the dude to tell him to go around and stuff while he's still looking. He's turning around, walking backwards. So I was like,
you know that? Did they go through
because he was in the military? Yeah, he was in the military.
So they did tell the backstory of the military.
Yeah, but basically he said, well, it doesn't matter what my story is because everybody's going to think whatever they think. It was something about killing somebody, I think, or doing something bad. I don't know if it was killing somebody or killing some people, maybe. But it was like, this was a direct order that I had to do. But I was young and nobody, I was young. Nobody said anything. Nobody understood. So now I'm
interesting.
Paying the price.
Pay the price, I tell you.
Yeah, so that's what I had. So check it out. It's called Plane. It is on Peacock.
Plane on Peacock. All right, everyone. Yeah. So that is it for this week's episode of Sestra-Tainment. Have an amazing week. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk soon. Bye.